Yo, 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 what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another exciting installment of the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. It's your boy, Double B Bab, the franchise player, joined by Tony DeBurn. Tony, welcome back, man.
Thank you. It's been sucked having to miss last week's show. I heard and saw everything that you guys talked about, and yeah, kind of bummed I missed out.
Well, man, sometimes it's crazy when you're not around, man. I'm glad you're back. Look,
Glad to be
before we
back.
start the show out, I gotta touch on a few things that happened this week.
Oh yes.
So, before, ladies and gentlemen, look, the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast is a show that we basically can come on this podcast and we talk about everything from WWE to AEW to New Japan, Impact Wrestling, the Joshis. We talk about everything,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and everyone has an
Oh yeah.
opinion. You're allowed your opinion on this show.
Yes. Absolutely.
Now, as a 28-year veteran in professional wrestling, I'm allowed my opinion.
I would
Tony DeBurn.
imagine so. Yeah.
Tony DeBurn, he has allowed his opinion. Hell,
Mm-hmm.
even this goofball Kevin Brandt. How you doing, Kevin? He's allowed his opinion.
Yes, indeed.
So WrestleMania weekend. Some of the matches were great, and some of the matches were shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Feed Orton.
yeah, we came on the show and we made myself and Adam Woods. We made our opinions known of what we thought of the matches and what we thought of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And a certain referee, a WWE and a WCW referee, Billy Silverman. Billy Silverman. Billy Silverman came on the show, and he had some things to say. Or he sent me a Facebook message, and he had some things to say.
He did.
And it's cool because, like I said, everyone has their opinion, and I appreciate your opinion, Billy Silverman, if you're watching. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read the opinion of one Billy Silverman. I didn't like the podcast. First of all, the foul mouths on both of them, I found them to be pompous asses. To me, they came across as entitled and just disrespectful to the business. I guess that's why they call them nowadays smart marks. Billy Silverman, first and foremost, you piece of shit. 28 years in this business. I've worked in this business just like you have. I've traveled around the world. I've done all kinds of shit. Just like you have. Been on international TV, done pay-per-view matches. I've done it, Billy. So I can have a fucking opinion. Tony DeBurns can have an opinion. Any fan that watches that show from WrestleMania weekend, they have an opinion.
Yes, they do.
That's why this podcast is so popular. That's why we're seen all over the world. That's why Google, Spotify, Anchor FM. That's why Pandora, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, Google Podcast. That's why we are on all of those platforms. 96,000 homes in the Portland metro area watch this show 3 nights a week, Billy.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? Because we're allowed an opinion. Here, look. You see all those channels, Billy? You see that? Those are people that watch and listen to us every week. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, all these are people that listen and watch us every week because we are allowed an opinion. So, with that being said, Billy Silverman, my opinion on you is that you are a pompous ass. You are a piece of excrement. We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there.
Every person has their right to
every
express
person's right in
themselves,
opinion.
to express their opinion, whether they are a part of this industry, whether they are a fan of this industry.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what part they play, wrestler, fan, merchandise guy, ticket taker, they all have their opinion and they are all entitled to those opinions.
Exactly.
Nothing will ever change that.
You know, a lot of people scream freedom of speech, freedom of speech. True statement. You have the freedom of speech. So with that, I need to get that off my chest because I want to go and do something really positive with the night.
Yes, we need some positivity. We do.
Speaking of positivity, ladies and gentlemen, there's a gentleman that is going around the wrestling industry and he is teaching the most humble lessons. And when I say humble lessons, I mean this gentleman has gone and he's done WWE, he's done Ring of Honor, he's done it all. Like he's a man that has done so much in this industry, and I had to get him on the show. And the reason why I had to get him on the show is because he's going out right now and he is doing something called the Wrestlelife. And what that's all about is teaching independent wrestlers how to better themselves in this business, how to get to where they're going, how to get to that next level. Okay, you know what? Guess what? He has an opinion, and he's allowed to share that opinion with you. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Brutal Bob Evans. Bob, welcome,
Hi guys,
my man.
how are you? How are you today?
Oh,
Good
Bob,
to see you guys.
fantastic, man. How are you?
Good. I'm on the road, driving as always, and but I appreciate that great introduction. And I've known both you guys for a while now, and you guys are of the same opinion I am. Speaking of opinions, but you're of the same opinion I am that we're all trying to do our best, grow this business one fan at a time, build this business up, and get some good wrestling in here and give the fans a great experience every time you unlock the doors and let people in. And we are in the process of yawning and stretching and getting ready to rock and roll. And I'm excited, man. I'm starting to get more and more fired up. And yeah, just put some dates on the calendar and got the wrestlelife.com rolling, and the wrestlelife.com live Hangs with Bob seminars come rolling in a couple of weeks. And it's an exciting time in the business as always, and this is no exception. So it's how's everything going in the Great Pacific Northwest?
Well, Bob, I'm
funny that I mentioned that.
I'm going to drop some info in your inbox after this podcast.
Okay,
something
great.
special I got planned, but it's
super
going to include
super secret information.
It's going to include Brutal Bob Evans, ladies and gentlemen. You can know that for certain.
I've been there many a times. I've loved every time I've been there. You and I have gone head to head a couple times, and one of these days I'm going to slip one and get you. But
hey, I'll tell you, Bob, greatest matches ever. You and Tim.
Oh, that was great. Crowd was hot.
I love that
Tim,
match.
Yep. Tim says hello. He's I just got off the phone with him about an hour ago, and he's doing great. He's down under 200 pounds for the first time.
Whoa.
Damn.
He put on a couple more pounds like we all did at COVID, I'm sure, or at least me and Tim did. And so he got up to about, I think, 240, 250, and now he's down to 200. So
nice.
And he hasn't been there since he first started Ring of Honor in 2016. So he's the lightest he's been in 5 years. He's getting ready to jump back in the ring. He's a little behind me as far as mentally ready. So he's going to jump in and vaccinated. I'm fully vaxxed, and he's getting his second shot tomorrow. So
Perfect.
So we're going to be ready to rock and roll. I think I'm free and clear. My 2 weeks ends in a couple days, so that'll be that. Man, we hit Kansas City for the AIWF showcase, and I know BJ, you guys are both very familiar with AIWF. So
yes, we are.
It's supposed to have at least 8 promotions there, scouting talent.
Nice.
And it's a 2-day event. I'm doing a seminar on Saturday, but I'll be there on Friday as well for my good friend Billy Simmons. I really should put you guys together. So BJ,
oh yeah, I'm good friends with Billy Silverman.
I thought so. Yeah, I thought
Billy
so.
Simmons, yeah.
And Billy Billy did a great job in the past 5 or 6 years of uniting most of Kansas wrestling. Kansas wrestling was a wasteland, unfortunately, for a long time. And now Billy's done a great job forming the Kansas Wrestling Alliance. It's not collusion. They're not trying to keep anybody out. They're actually trying to bring more people in. So it's been a great experience. And I believe he's using in Hutchinson, Kansas, they're using the Prairie Championship Wrestling building. So
okay,
it's so it's two-day event there, and looks like they're going to have about 50 or 60 wrestlers on the card. So it's going to be a big event.
Hopefully, friend of the show, Kyle King, Kate Dulce will be out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually going to go do that show and defend the AIWF American Heavyweight Championship, but I had to vacate the title due to, not wanting to go to a non-COVID safe event.
Well, I mean, that's that didn't even exist until a year and a half ago, and now we have to things like that exist. Yeah, we won the tag team belts at XWE, Billy's place in Salina, Kansas, and never defended them. We've held them for 15 months, but we never defended them. And now he said, hey, we're probably going to do something different with the belts. And I said, man, do what you can. All rules are off. One thing we've learned over the past year and a half, fellas, is that everything you thought was true is now untrue. And and every rule in wrestling that they handed to us has been broken. WWE managed to not only wrestle without any fans for a year and a half, but sign $1 billion TV deal in the process with Peacock. So that's pretty good.
That's right.
AEW managed to survive and keep their numbers up. And, Ring of Honor's doing their thing. Actually, the big Vincent and Matt Taven match took place in one of the buildings I started training at. The last pay-per-view, the cinematic match they had, was at the Fall River, Massachusetts PAL Hall, which has a lot of history.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was and that was a building that I, learned a lot of wrestling in, learned how to perform better, and had a lot of memorable matches. So a lot of stuff has happened. And I've actually, wrapping all that up for a shameless plug for myself, I actually managed to get this wrestlelife.com, the wrestlelife.com going. And it's been a nice community. We've had some nice growth. We've only been open 4 months, but we've been up 20% every month. So I'm hoping to keep that going. And what you said it yourself, man, the business needs positivity and positive leadership and good role models that, have integrity. We got punched in the face with that whole speaking out thing. It was a pox on the business, and I've always been comfortable training women and being in the same room with women. I've traveled with women, and my wife hasn't minded. Open communication is always the thing, but the women like me because I'm not trying to do any funny business with them.
Exactly.
But the guys too. I mean, we've had a lot of that too in this business, and I don't begrudge anybody what they do behind closed doors. It's none of my business. But when you use it in a power position, and BJ, I think you and I have actually talked about this. That
we've talked about it a lot, actually.
Yeah, I've never been afraid to sit down and talk with BJ Darden about anything. Black Lives Matter. Different things in our lives. We're friends like that. We can always communicate. The door's always open, and he knows that.
Yes, sir.
But when I talked about, you and I have talked about this, and you might not even understand where I'm going with this, so I'll explain. But we're in positions of power, and you and I both talked about how we could use that power for good or for evil. Yes. And I know that sounds kind of comic booky, but it's true. I mean, how many?
Oh, it is.
We saw with all those documentaries talk about COVID, we all got caught up on our TV too. But all the Nexium stuff, and all the stuff where that guy was just, sleeping with everything that moved, and the women just were kind of hypnotized into thinking that that's what they were supposed to do. And it's, I want to be an influencer, but I want to be an influencer and show people that the right way and the right path.
The right way and right things go. You can put yourself in a position, ladies and gentlemen, and what we're talking about here is putting yourself in a position of power to make a career or break a career in this industry. And some people use that power for bad, and some people use it for good. And what we're discussing here is using it in a positive way to help reinforce the business as a business. And like for me, and I know for Bob and I, we both had the same commonality when we want to help the industry and help people in the industry, and some people use that power to hold people down and to do horrible stuff.
Yeah, and it's just that, there's nothing wrong with talking real to people, but you can't, like, every time I walk up, and you have to say it these days, I tell them, I was talking to a great young wrestler, Lilith Grimm, who's
I know the name. Yep.
Yeah.
A promoter's been, she's really done a good job, and I've tried to share her stuff, and I shouted her out last week. But I put her in touch with a couple of promoters, and I said this just because I wanted her to feel comfortable. But I just said, look, there's no ulterior motive here. I'm not trying to marry you. I'm not trying to be a boyfriend or anything like that. I said, and I know it sounds silly because her trainer is Matt Yaden, and Matt's one of my best friends in wrestling, just like BJ is.
Mercury Matt.
Yeah, Matt's the best. And but I just, look, we have to put people at ease, and we have to communicate about the stuff openly, let people know what our intentions are, because I just want to help the business, and I just want to help people. And, we've managed to kind of succeed with that on the wrestlelife.com. And like I said, man, it's really coming together. We have a nice roadmap in there that, I give people kind of the roadmap of how to guide their careers. And I've been concentrating mostly on independent wrestlers that want to do this for a great side hustle, make some good side money, and keep their job, keep their families, because I'm sick of the stereotype, and you guys have heard this a million times, just like I have. If I've heard it a million, you guys have heard it probably a million as well.
10 million times, yeah.
That you either are wrestling Roman Reigns for the belt, you're a drunk, or a guy who walks out on his family, and you don't talk to your kids anymore. You're a carny who's trying to just cheat money from the promoter. And I'm sick of that stereotype for the independent wrestler. 99.9% of the people I met in independent wrestlers are good people with families, or at least responsibilities, and want a good life, want a fulfilling life outside of wrestling too. But they've been tricked into thinking that you have to give everything to wrestling, or wrestling won't give anything to you back. And I'm just telling them that if they put this in the right perspective and they put it in the right category, wrestling can.
It looks like we lost him with the
and
internet.
Sometimes my message gets misconstrued that way. But if you just throw it away, man. Oh, are you back?
Yep, you're back.
I lost you guys for a minute. You guys back? Yeah. So I was just saying, like, if we don't need to throw our lives away for this business. We can have a great business, a great life, and wrestling can be an excellent side hustle. You can make an extra $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 a year. It's going to take some work. It's not going to be easy. Look, I can lay out a plan for you all day, but a plan is just as good as the person who executes it. And
that's right.
It's really going to be on the individual at the end of it. But again, if we lay it out and we give them an easy plan, or as easily explained, nothing's easy, right? But easily explained, simple to understand, lay it out for them. And then I have a bunch of people in the site that are helping. Kevin Kelly is doing promos. I have some promoter classes in there. I've interviewed different promoters. I've interviewed one of the biggest promoters in French Canada, Eric Wimay. And Eric and I are going to have some exciting news coming up later too. But the first one I talked to him about was me just interviewing him and talking about his mindset and how he had to change his mindset to start drawing more fans and not just become a negative indie guy. Then the second one is me sitting down with him and asking him every question that every promoter would ask. How exactly did you draw 600 people every show, turning away 200, and having the fire marshal threaten to shut you down every show? How is that happening? Exactly a happy problem, as the ancients said.
I love when we have that problem.
Yeah, but the issue is there's no magic to it. BJ will look at all this stuff, and all the successful promoters were the ones that watched it first, obviously. And BJ will watch this and he'll go, yeah, that's all the stuff I do, because he's successful. But the thing is, there might be a nugget in there of wisdom that he didn't think of, or something that he wanted to try, wasn't sure if it would work, and then he hears another promoter doing it, and that gives him kind of permission to do it. Yep. So that's where we are, man. I'm just trying to connect different quality people with different other quality people, and let's build a community of people that are just full of success stories instead of, hey man, everyone's out to get you and everybody stabs you in the back and there's no money and hot dog and a handshake and all this stuff. Like,
Yeah,
who
the
cares?
negativity in
Who
this
cares?
business.
It's all buzzwords that lead you nowhere. I don't even know if
You
it's
know,
negative. It just doesn't do anything.
it's funny you say that too, because like we were discussing before we
Not
let you on.
as
We were
zero with
discussing.
me, but
Looks like
sure.
the signals.
I got you. I'm here. I'm listening.
Okay. Yeah, we
I'm
were
here. I heard
discussing
you. We're
earlier.
discussing.
You know, with the situation with the former WWE and WCW referee Billy Silverman.
Okay.
How he totally bashed the podcast for the simple fact that we had an opinion.
Your podcast?
Yeah, he basically bashed us because we had an opinion on the WWE's latest WrestleMania pay-per-view. Some of the matches we liked, some of the matches we didn't like, and we voiced our opinion as to why we didn't like them.
Okay.
And we got called pompous asses and smart marks. Little does you know, I've been in this business 28 years. I'm I'm in the business.
And I wasn't even on that show.
I'm not a kid who just watches it on the sidelines. Like I run a show every week. I run a television network show, and I'm performing all over the country. So I'm not some smart mark kid, as he put it. But you know, when it, you know, the negativity, and I love it. I tell you, Bob, you know, I was told this a long time ago. Haters are just your fans in denial.
Yep.
Because if someone is watching everything that you do just to find a reason to hate on it, I'm sorry, but that's a fan. That's a fan in denial.
And the thing is too, it's like, who cares about it? Again, you might have had your opinions on what was good and what was bad, and that's fine. But you've also taken the bumps, and you've been under the pressure of having to draw on a show. You've had the everyday struggles of just being a wrestler. Never mind being a national wrestler, but being a wrestler. And yeah, I think sometimes fans are too hard on the guys because they can't feel the pain. And I think one of the reasons we're a little kinder to the guys is because we know the struggle and we know what they go through. But that doesn't mean that they still shouldn't be held accountable if they give a performance that you didn't, if you thought was lackluster, or if they gave a performance that you thought wasn't that great. Again, I think it's funny because we have WWE can tap dance and they can run around and wave their arms and the biggest show of the year, and they can let off a bunch of pyro and that's all well and good. Oop. Did we throw BJ off? BJ disappeared.
Did he? Oh, wow.
Yeah, well.
He'll be back in a moment.
I know. The wonders of technology. The wonders of technology.
Indeed.
I want to hold that thought because it includes him too.
There he is.
Oh, he's coming back.
There he is.
There he is.
Get him on.
Here I am, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry.
There you are. Good. Now you guys have switched places. So one guy's on my left and one guy's on my right.
I was going to say.
There we go. Now it's back.
Got that right-handed headlock. Had to switch it around, baby.
There you go.
That's right.
You can adjust. Be flexible. But what I was saying was that they can write off pyro. They can do this. The fact of the matter is the TV ratings are lower, and we have to figure out if that's just streaming or if are we losing fans, and then they have to figure out a way to get fans back. I think the Peacock thing was brilliant. I think that'll actually make people watch their product even more because it's going to be more. It's available to 30 million people now instead of 2 million, 3 million. So I think that's a brilliant move. Plus, you get it for free if you're on Xfinity or Cox, two of the biggest cable companies. I imagine Time Warner as well. So you've just kind of opened it up to a ton of new fans, a ton of new people, and at least it'll be available to them. Now, will they watch it? That's another thing. But
you know, that's so funny you say that because as I was looking at the numbers, you know, every year WrestleMania does, you know, I mean, the night after WrestleMania, the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania has like the biggest like surprises and shocking returns, and everyone tunes into that. Now, in the previous years, we're talking like 30 to 50 million people watching.
Yep.
This last Monday, they did barely 2 million people. And ladies and gentlemen, I say barely because 2 million people to them is like 10 people to like a podcast, right? You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
oh, 10 people watched today. So 2 million people to us is like the biggest show ever. To them, it's like we're failures. So,
Well, and
like
and
you're
again,
saying,
it's a different, I understand it's a different viewing environment, and we all learn.
Mhm.
Again, this pandemic has taught us a lot of lessons, and it fast forwarded our technology probably about 5 or 10 years. So I get it. We were supposed to be here probably in 2030, and now we're here in 2021. The fact that people are streaming more than ever. I almost never, I can't remember the last time, aside from maybe a ball game. I listened to a little bit of the Red Sox game today on the radio, just on my way in to work. But aside from that, I can't think of too much stuff I watch or listen to live. It's either a podcast, like I'm with you guys, I'm part of the process, or a ball game or something, that kind of stuff. So, but as far as entertainment or a TV show, I'll DVR it. I'll watch it on demand. I'll watch it on Xfinity on demand. I'll watch it on Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, or any of that stuff. And that's kind of where we're going. So we have to check those numbers and see if a lot of unique people are watching that. And they also have to see if that translated to dollars. Obviously, Peacock saw a value in it. But I also
$100
think,
million, yeah.
and I also think, guys, that this presents us, these smaller time live event coordinators, people who deal with a lot of live events. I think that presents us with a huge opportunity, because if WWE is going to go to pretty much, aside from pay-per-views and maybe Raw and SmackDown, if they're not doing house shows anymore, that presents us with a very wide open weekend schedule, and we can provide wrestling to these fans that want to go see it. Plus, I think we're promoting too small if we promote to wrestling fans anyway. I think we should promote to people who like wrestling, but wouldn't necessarily go, and then provide a party atmosphere around it. And I don't mean like a crazy party atmosphere.
Yes.
I just mean a good atmosphere around it. Where, think about it this way: we've been to plenty of stuff that we've been to once because our buddies took us to it, or our family wanted to go to it. I've been to Disney on Ice. I've been to the circus. I've been to the Harlem Globetrotters. The Harlem Globetrotters is a party and a basketball game breaks out.
That's right.
Disney on Ice. Disney on Ice is a Disney sing-along party, and ice skating kind of pops out in the middle of it. It's not an ice skating competition. It's an ice skating show with a bunch of singing and all that stuff. I mean, when you go see Frozen on Ice and you see 8,000 people all singing along, men, women, and children of all ages, singing "Let It Go" out at the top of their lungs like a rock concert, you start looking at the possibilities of, you could create a movement here with live entertainment and plugging it all in. And all I'm doing is telling people you can do that on a small level. I deal with a lot of independent promoters. I'm doing a show on the wrestlelife.com. It's more of a case study right now. It's not really a show, but I'm doing a case study with 5 different promoters all over the country, top secret promoters, and I'm calling it Promoter Rescue. And the goal is to double their numbers by the end of the year, with or without COVID, because I'm dealing with both. I'm dealing with COVID, without COVID. So we're trying to see, with restrictions and without restrictions. That's what I mean. Everybody's dealing with COVID, but it's different in all areas. And a lot of it is, we keep giving them good matches and nobody shows up. I said, why would you show up? You're advertising the worst thing that you can compete with WWE on. WWE, whether you believe it or not, and it doesn't matter what we believe. We could, and I don't believe this. You and I both have a lot of friends in that company, but you and I could personally believe, BJ, that everybody in WWE sucks, and they don't. They're all great. So please don't misquote. Don't take that quote out of context. But even if we did, what does the mainstream tell you? The mainstream tells you that WWE is big league wrestling. So if you try to beat them on wrestling, well, we have some great wrestling here. It just kind of looks like the big league wrestling without the lights and the TV and Roman Reigns, and it just looks like what they would do in like a ring that's not as well lit, and I don't really want to go to this. But if you say, hey, it's a cool live environment and you'll see some good matches, and they're expecting everybody to be terrible, and then everybody's pretty good, then you'll almost get extra points for doing that. My whole thing is don't don't ignore the wrestling, but almost kind of understate it. Talk about that it's going to be there. But if you have 19 storylines going on, nobody cares about your storylines.
Yes.
Nobody. Again, I challenged people the other day, and nobody could answer me. I said, "You've name 5 players on the last minor league baseball team you saw." Like, you can't do that.
Oh, wow.
You don't go to minor league baseball for the baseball. Now, the baseball's good; it's very high quality, but you don't go for the baseball. You go because it's $10. You can sit and have a beer. You're really
Exactly. You
not overly
hang out with your
invested in the
friends.
game. If the home team loses, they lose. If they win, they win. You're not really keeping track. What place are they in? Oh, they're in 3rd place. The playoffs in minor league baseball, guys, are some of the worst. The playoffs, the high stakes playoffs, are some of the worst drawing baseball games there. You know why? Because they start after school starts.
Oh, yes.
Exactly. And I remember that, and I was shocked because I went to one of the biggest, and actually they had a pretty good crowd, but they said, "Oh yeah, we usually have way more people than this." And I said, "Why? What happened?" "Oh, everybody went back to school." And I said, "Well, that makes sense." So you're not fighting with match quality or game quality at that point. You're fighting with school. So you have to use real life, and you have to meet people where in marketing they call it meeting people where they are, starting the conversation where people are. You don't just walk in and say, "What do I want?" Because you are not your customer. BJ, you've seen me post this a million times. You are not your customer. If you think because BJ, you and I, we're huge wrestling fans. We'll go to anything. I'll go to anything wrestling, either to watch it or make fun of the guys or help them or all 3. Usually it's all 3. Right?
All 3.
Right? We might pick on the guys, but we're going to help them, and then
Yes.
we might have a sarcastic remark, but we're going to love on them and make them better. So,
That's right.
But we'll go to wrestling. They could take one flyer, bury it 6 feet underground, and we'd show up at the building on time with ticket money in our hand, ready to watch the wrestling, because wrestling fans will find wrestling shows. Who cares?
With our gear with our gear bag in the trunk.
Yeah. Well, yes, but I'm saying but how many wrestling fans are there? I figured it out. I think there's really about, if you divide it evenly around the country, you said yourself 2 million people. I think that's about right. So that's 40,000 people in every state, right? If you figure it out, 40,000 times 50 is 2 million, right? But that's good. But I guarantee I have more wrestling fans in the Northeast than you guys have in the Pacific Northwest, just because that's where wrestling was a hotbed for a long time. I bet there's more wrestling fans in North Carolina than there are in the Pacific Northwest. Now, I'm not picking on the Pacific Northwest, but I'm saying if we just market to wrestling fans, then we're done in the Pacific Northwest. BJ, you did one of the most brilliant things. I bragged on you the other day to a very influential friend of mine who I'm going to put you in touch with. And he said, and I said, BJ Darden was drawing 100 people, 125 people. And then he decided to go to the college and say, "Hey, who wants cheap beer?" And then all of a sudden, he doubled his crowd. Yep. So you had the wrestling fans in the front, and then you had 50 to 100 college kids in the back, and he doubled his crowd. Yep. He doubled his revenue in a blink of an eye.
You know what the funny thing about that is? Like, you come to our show, and you ask fans, "Are you guys wrestling fans?" And half of them were like, "No, we just came because it was a good place to hang out." And then the wrestling broke out, and it was fucking exciting.
For the experience, I mean, the wrestling is great, but it's the experience that draws.
Exactly. It's like we had WWE do a pay-per-view the same night we ran our show.
Yeah.
And fans left the WWE NXT TakeOver Portland to come to our show.
But why?
Ring of Honor did a show.
But why though? You know why?
Because our show
they can watch that show later, and they can't watch your show later. And even if they watch your show later, it's not as cool as being there live.
Exactly.
Yeah. They like the fact that they're part of the show. Like when I'm wrestling, when I do a show, when I do a match, I literally will go into the crowd. I make the crowd part of the show.
Yep.
So they can be like, "Dude, that guy came and slapped this guy in the face right in front of me. He took my beer, drank my beer, ate my popcorn. Like, that guy, he let me slap a guy." We make them part of the show. Yeah, Bob, you were there. We make them part of the show, and that's the reason why it's so good.
Yeah, and that's how you do it. And one of the things I've had to, and it's been a bit of a re-education process. Unfortunately, most of the promoters that have dealt with me are already on the right track. So it's not really a question of somebody really struggling. I've had people, I've had guys sit down and say, "Yeah, man, I don't know why we're not drawing. We're struggling." And I said, "Okay, well," I said, what's your budget like for marketing? Oh, $10. I was like, okay. Well, I said, okay. And I nothing surprises me anymore. So it's not, you could say 50 cents, you could say 10 million. It wouldn't really affect me. And I said, how many seats do you have? 200. Okay. Well, what's your budget for the show? I don't know. Okay. We'll figure out your budget. Well, my budget is about $1,000. Okay. So 1,000 divided by 200 is $5. So so it costs, every seat that you're there costs you $5. Every seat that's empty costs you $5.
That's right.
So now you know that if you spend $5.01 and get that on every single seat, you're going to make a profit, and you're at least going to break even. So you have to get at least $1,000.01, right, to make a profit. But to get them to forecast things is a struggle, because they've never looked at it that way. They say, well, we put out some posters in town, and once in a while we boost a little Facebook ad for $25. I said, I spent $300 last week on what I did on Facebook ads. And I said, I know a lot more about Facebook ads than you do. I said, I know about lookalike fans, you guys know about lookalike audience? No, we don't know about that. Well, you have to look up your lookalike audiences, because not only is it going to be your fans, but there's a whole bunch of people out there that like a lot of the same things your fans do, and maybe they just don't put wrestling down, but they might like going to a live event, and they haven't gone to a live event in a while, and now you can jump on it. So I've worked with a few, and we've already had some really good success. And a lot of it is saying, look, guys, you have to spend money to acquire customers. You can't just, you just can't put up, hey, we got a great night of matches, and I put 5 posters up around town. I can't wait till they blow the doors off running into the building. They're not going to do that. They need to be convinced, because that's just the way life is. That's just the way anything is in marketing. You have to convince people. Plus, it used to be 7 to 10 impressions might convert a customer. Now it's 30, because of all the ADHD. So if you're a little, somebody putting their little $10 ad over a week, that 50 people are going to look at a day, is not going to do it. But I bet if you spend that $100 to $200 and you target it really well, you'll make $400 or $500 back, probably minimum. Especially if you've never done it before.
Here's the thing about advertising too. Like I always tell people, 10,000 flyers. You take 10,000 flyers and you pass 10,000 flyers out. Okay, out of those 10,000 flyers, 6,515 are going to get looked at. Mm-hmm. Out of 6,515, 2,510 are going to get kept.
Right.
Out of 2,510 that were kept, 500 are going to get kept, and people are going to look at it and make plans to go to that show. Yep. Out of those 500 flyers that people looked at, made plans to look at, and plans to go to that show, 250 of those people are probably going to go to that show. Out of the 250 people that go to that show, 105 people are actually going to show up.
Yeah.
Now that's still 105 people that you didn't have last week.
Yeah, but again, you've probably made that recommendation to plenty of people, and they say, yeah, but do you know how much 10,000 flyers cost? And I'll be like, dude, it doesn't matter how much 10,000 flyers cost. It matters. I mean, don't be stupid, but I mean, don't spend $1 million. But I mean, you can get 5,000 of the club flyers for $99. I know, and now it's probably even cheaper now with all the. But I mean, I remember when I was running shows 14, 15 years ago, I had a place that did 5,000 club flyers, the really nice glossy ones. They looked like baseball cards, and they did those for $99, and they shipped them to you as about a 10-day turnaround. Now it's quicker, and so that's $200. But for that $200, if 100 people show up, $10 a ticket, $15 a ticket, that's $1,000.
You made your money back twice over. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you've 7x'd your money. But see, they don't. For them, it's very difficult to look at. They only look at what they spend. They don't look at what they make.
Exactly.
And then you say, well, it takes money to make money, and they just look at that as just a tired old saying, or a cliche.
It's true in any business.
But it is true. Look, I didn't say spend stupid money and do dumb stuff. But again, I'll that Oz thing. I'm going to put it out for free because it's too valuable. Like I need people to look at that. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. We have a 14-day free trial at thewrestlelife.com if you want to look at it. I got nothing to hide. BJ, both these guys know. I know both these guys are friends of mine, so they're not going to say anything bad anyway. But ask them in
I
private.
fully support the WrestleLife.com, ladies and gentlemen.
What they say in private will answer a lot more questions than what they say publicly here.
Correct.
I add a ton of value, so I'm not worried about the 14 days. I make more money giving away stuff for free than people do giving away stuff for money. So I'm not afraid to do that.
I mean, this says it all right here.
Yeah, and I'm happy to do it. But I talked to Eric Wimay, and he said, "Yeah, man." And I asked him a question. I just said, "What did you do?" You know, in Quebec. He's 45 minutes south of Montreal, and he goes, "I just did the work that other people didn't want to do. And when there's no one else to do it, I did it." He's like, "I spent $1,000 on a billboard." And he goes, "Have you ever been up on a billboard before?" I go, "No." He goes, "Who did you share that with?" I go, "Everyone," because it was badass, because it was in French too. So it made me, and of course, I'm not a moron. I put that on my Facebook, so I look even more international.
Exactly.
But then the guy draws like crazy. Look, Tim and I were disappointed because we only made $300 in merch that day. Disappointed because he told us we'd make 500. And he goes, "Oh, did you make 500? I go, "No, only 300. He goes, "Next time you make 500, they know you now."
And you know what? That's the thing too. Like, you put yourself out there, and he took that money, and he could have spent that money on something completely different, but he listened to what you said. He got that knowledge. He put that knowledge into practice. And that's the thing that people don't understand. And it's not just in professional wrestling, it's just in general life. If you get some knowledge, if someone imparts knowledge on you and you don't put that knowledge into work, if you don't put that information that someone gave you into practice, you're spinning your wheels, man. Like, you're wasting time, you're wasting money. Gregor Petrov, Anthony put his money out of his own pocket. He worked 2 jobs to make this money. He put that money out. He got his gear. He got his fresh looking gear. Then he went out and he got himself stickers. He got himself pictures. He got himself t-shirts. The dude made $10K. That's $10,000, ladies and gentlemen. Who says you can't make money on the indie wrestling scene? That's $10,000.
And it drives me up a wall when guys, again, my message gets misconstrued by certain people. And it's people that are intelligent, which frustrates me because it's not dumb people.
Yeah.
But they say, "Oh, Bob," you know, because for a long time I was telling people to donate plasma, which I don't really. It's a lot of work. It's not really.
It is.
It is. It's a lot. It's a lot to do. But I didn't do it because for the $50 or $75. I didn't want people to quit their job and donate plasma for wrestling. It's not what I wanted. But a lot of people were having to pay out of pocket for blood work, and a lot of these plasma companies, they test your blood. Obviously, they have to.
Yep.
And then they'll let you.
Free
Now, some
blood
places
work.
won't. Some places will. Some places won't. But certain commissions require blood work. I know when I get my blood work done, it's $150. So some places will do it. Some places, sometimes your insurance covers it, sometimes it doesn't. So I was just trying to get it where guys and girls would get their blood work covered and make $50, $75 while they're there anyway. That was my only thing. And another thing too, BJ, is when you've run other businesses just like I have, people call you a mark if you work a job and save up money to like travel and go to wrestling and all this. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, I know plenty of businesses that started up with a guy who said, "Yeah, I saved 10 grand and then bought all the stuff I needed for a business." For some reason in wrestling, you're a mark, you're a goof, you're an idiot if you do that. And I've never understood that because
I don't either.
People, who cares? First of all, why do you care if someone Look, as long as they're paying their bills, taking care of their wife and kids, taking care of their husband and kids, whatever the situation is, you know, not running out on pills and running out on their credit cards and all that. But if they're being responsible and just decide to spend their disposable income, or they work extra to have the money to pay for opportunities to fly to Georgia or fly to California or fly to, you know, Massachusetts to get some opportunities, why would that be your concern, first of all? And second of all, God bless them. Yeah. I know plenty of people. Look, here's the secret, guys. That happens a lot more than you think. That happens a ton more than you think. Look, if you think BJ's paying me $1,000 and giving me all money for flights and this and that, no, what I do is, see, I'm smart about it. I walk up to him and I go, "Hey, man, let's give me some money. You know, give me a base. We'll split the seminar." I'm not like, look, I'm real. We don't have to talk numbers, but we can talk design. And then I tell him, "Hey, man, it's my flight is $300 and I have 2 other promoters. So now you can get me for $100 flight now. And BJ goes, well, that's way cheaper than $300, and you laid out the entire plan for me. So
there it is.
now and plus BJ's a genius because he runs Sundays, so he never has to compete with anyone.
Exactly.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, baby. There it is. And you know the great part about this? Look, I'm gonna tell you guys. Here's a secret that guys like Bob Evans.
This should just be called BJ and Bob yell at everyone. This is what this
right? Here's a secret, guys, and I'm gonna lay on you guys. That all you wrestlers that are listening, indie guys, mainstream guys, whatever it is, rookies wanting to break into the business. Here's what you do: you get a promoter to fly you into their company, but you get them to fly you on an airline such as Southwest, United, or Delta. You get those reward points.
Yep.
Yes.
That way, like for me, like I'll tell you, I looked at it today. I have 123,510 Southwest airline points.
But who's
I have
counting?
enough points to go to Hawaii. Yeah, I looked at them. I was going to book a flight. I have enough points to go to Hawaii 3 times.
Yeah.
Round trip for $6 every time.
Yeah.
Because every wrestling promoter I know, I get them to book my flight. I get them to book Southwest, or I get them to book United, or I get them to book American Airlines. That way I get all those reward points. So let's say Bob is running a show in Boston. You know, he's running a show in Maryland. He's like, hey, BJ, I got this show, man. I think I want to put you on the show, but I can't afford to fly you out here for this price. But guess what? I know 2 other dudes that are running a show on Friday and Saturday, and my show is Sunday. So what I do is I say, okay, Bob, I'll fly out Thursday, and that way I can wrestle Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I'll fly back home Monday.
Yeah,
exactly.
Now, I tell Bob, hey, get me a Southwest airline flight going home, and I'll use my points to go to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you build up your points. You get to fly all over the country. You get to do your stuff, and you don't have to spend any money out of your pocket.
Exactly.
That's business.
And as you fly, every time you fly and you put those points away, after about 9 or 10 flights, and that's one-way flights, not two-way flights,
Mm-hmm.
You'll have enough for another flight. So now now it's 90 cents on the dollar. And if you're smart, here's another little tip for everyone. And this is in the site, but I'm giving you this for free. Look around and see if you can get discount gift cards to Southwest. You can sometimes save up to 15%. Get them on eBay, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
I bought one. Because I went to. I bought a Delta one because I'm doing a benefit for Lance Lude, one of the Ugly Ducklings. You guys have probably heard of those guys, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And Lance is suffering. He's a young guy, but he has colon cancer. So we're really trying to help get his. It looks good, but we're still trying to get him his hospital bills and everything, so he's not paying out of pocket. And
is there a GoFundMe for him?
What's that?
Is there a GoFundMe for it?
There is, yeah. And you can just go on his page or Colby Carino. I'll send it over to you. Yeah.
Colby Carino?
Yeah, Colby's part of the Ugly Ducklings, and Colby's the guy that I helped along. Steve Carino's one of my best friends in wrestling too. So
I'll shoot Colby a text and see if I can get the information.
Please do. But I said, Colby, I want to do a seminar and I'll give Lance all the money, and I'm happy to do it.
I will do this next week on the podcast.
Yep,
we're gonna have John Cena Sr. on the show.
Oh my goodness!
I love that guy.
Do you know John at all?
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Talk about he's nuttier than a fruitcake, but I love him. I've known him for 20 years, John.
He's going to be on the show, ladies and gentlemen. We got from AEW Dark, Shauna Reed, the pretty little psycho. She's going to be back on the show. Ashley Nova's going to be back on the show. And look, Bob, before we go, let's do this. Let me do a quick commercial break, and then we're going to bring in Kevin Cordell, and you guys can we can round it out. Give me
I got a couple more minutes. I got a couple more minutes, and then I'll be ready to rock. So,
all right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back.
Drive me insane! All these rules are lame, have been taking all the fun out! Drive me insane! All these rules are lame, have been taking all the fun out! Drive me insane! All these
get your hair cut, you go get your hair cut right. You head down to Big D's Barbershop. Big D's Barbershop, Vancouver, Washington's best and brightest. 1019 Main Street, Vancouver, Washington, where you can go get your hair lined up, cuts, fades, shampoos, conditions, and all the great things that go with supporting a local barbershop in a local business area. You can also reach them online at www.bigdsbarbershop.com. Go get your haircut right.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with your boy, Bob Evans. Bob, thewrestlelife.com. That's where they can go to get all this cool information. They can go learn about the indie wrestling scene and how to make money in this business. Bob, give them some more information.
Yeah, we're so go to thewrestlelife.com. There'll be a million banners there that'll tell you can go 14 days for free, which is absolutely true. After that, it's $49 a month. We also have a gold plan, which you get direct access to me once a month. So that's $149 a month after the 14 days. But don't worry about any of that. I want you to go and I want you to look at all the testimonials. I have about 40 testimonials on there, and I'm not bragging on myself. I let other people do it for me. You know, it's called social proof, guys. So, and then go on there, check it out. See what we can do for you. Don't worry about what I've done. Doesn't matter. I can brag all day. I can show you all the stuff, but it's what I can do for you. So I want you to go into the site, sign up, 14 days for free. Look around, check out that Hangs with Bob, the 6-module blueprint class. Go check out all our other stuff. I have one class in there literally where if you hold your phone up and down and you press play, it looks like I'm running your phone for you. It shows you how to book a 2,200-mile trip, and you get to stay in a good hotel. It's a driving trip. But I actually have another class in there where I teach you how to book a flight too, because one of the things I noticed was that people really didn't know how to book flights and look for the deals and all that too. So you'll actually see me go on there and I'll save you. I think I save 18% about 2 minutes in when I do it. So there's a bunch of different little life hacks and things like that. Now, you're never going to get stuff for free. Eventually you'll get a free flight if you build up your points. Here's another thing too. If you rent with Avis or Budget, every time you rent a car, they give you 600 miles. So look at that too. And look at all points. Yeah, it all adds up. It all adds up. So just check and see, just check it out. Sorry, I got a text coming in.
That's okay.
But just check it out and see if it's right for you. I have a feeling that once people grab a hold of this, they're not going to let it go. We have a bunch of cool courses in there. Again, I teach you the roadmap you need to have success in wrestling as a wrestler or a referee or manager. Kevin Kelly is in there with his class. It's called The Spoken Word. We just released one today, which was called To Curse or Not to Curse. And that's where Kevin says, is it okay to curse in your wrestling promo? Is it not okay? Maybe it's never okay. Maybe it's always okay. So it's about a 20-25 minute class, and you can check it out. I also have, if you guys are scared to sign up for the class, you can go on the WrestleLife Facebook page, and we offer a lot of free resources there. One of the ones that's really getting a lot of attention these days, guys, is the 11 things independent wrestling bookers should be doing and why. And it's a quick little checklist, about a 30-minute class training. And I just tell you what I like to see and what I've seen is successful on independent wrestling shows and what bookers should be doing, what they should be concentrating on. And guess what? A lot of it isn't storylines. A lot of it is good guys, bad guys, and simple storylines that everybody can follow. And I look at it that way. So a lot of cool stuff. And I do have to kick you guys loose because my boss is now ringing me like crazy now. No, it's all good. It's all good. Nothing we can't handle. So, but I will catch up with you guys soon. Again, I really appreciate you guys having me on. I love both you guys, man. It's been such a great trip with hanging out with you guys.
Ditto,
and I can't
my
wait.
friend.
Yeah, of course. And I can't wait to do business in the future and get out there and get ready to rock. So
So
God
I will
bless all
shoot you
you
a
guys,
DM.
man. Please
I'll
shoot
shoot
me
you a
up.
text after the show's over, and I'll let you know
That'd
what
be
I got
great.
planned.
That'd be great. So, all right, man. Well, I'll kick you guys loose, and great talking to you guys. I love everyone out there, and check it out. All right. Talk to you guys later.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the WrestleLife.com. Subscribe, man. You never know what you're gonna find. And look, before we bring our next guest on, I'm gonna give a few shout outs. Shout out to my boy Nate Andrews. Thank you very much, Nate. That's right, Loverboy Nate, ladies and gentlemen, all the way out there in Texas, man. Nate was one of the first guys I worked when I came to Portland, Oregon. Excellent wrestler, one of the best guys in and out of the ring. Shout out to my boy Nate. Shout out to my boy Toby Robinson. Shout out to Shane. Oh my God, Shane. Shane didn't say anything. He didn't say anything stupid this week, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Shane. Yeah. Hey, thank you, Nate. Thank you for joining in. You know, Nate's listening all the way out there in Texas, ladies and gentlemen.
Hell yeah, he
And
is.
Nate says that's good stuff. And hey, man, it's good stuff. And you know, here's the thing about professional wrestling, man. You never know what it's going to bring you. You never know where it's going to take you. I've gone places, like literally places I've never would have gone without professional wrestling. Germany, Japan, all through Mexico. I mean, I would say Canada, but I'm from Canada, so Canada. I've been to Hawaii 11 times, man. Like, you know, it's crazy. Nate knows, man. Look, that's the truth. Nate knows. Wrestling's brought him to Portland, Oregon. Now down there in Texas. I mean, it's just doing the most, man. You make family. You make friends like Bob Evans. Bob is such a great guy. You know, and Bob has taught me a lot. And like I'm telling you, his slogan is "Hang with Bob and you'll get better." And that is no shit. You hang with Bob, trust and believe, you will get better.
Yeah, you will.
So, speaking of getting better, before we get to our next guest, let's go ahead and hear from one of the best referees in all of professional wrestling. And no, we're not talking about Billy Silverman.
Hi, this is James Beard with SWE Fury, and you're watching the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. James Beard, legendary NWA referee, SWE Fury. You can see it live on television weekly. Now, let's do this. Let's bring in a man who was a ring announcer extraordinaire for not only Ohio Valley Wrestling, but IWA Mid-South. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Cordell. Brother. You might need to turn your volume up a little bit, my man.
Just a tad.
All right, let's try this. Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. Turn your phone this way.
All righty, let's try this and see if you can hear me.
Yep, perfect. Now do this.
All right. You got it, my friend.
Boom. There we go. Now, there you go.
That's
Brother.
money right there.
All right.
Welcome to the show, my man. Okay, bring your mic a little closer.
Here we go.
There we go.
Yeah,
all right.
I appreciate you guys bringing me on, and it was actually great hearing from Bob again. I've been fortunate enough to interview him, done 2 or 3 of his seminars, and great guy.
Bob's a really great guy, man, and he knows his business. But you, Ohio Valley Wrestling, man, like that's like the mecca of like sports entertainment in the Ohio Valley. Shit. I mean, tell us a little bit about you and what brought you to the table.
Wow, guys. To be honest with you, 7 or 8 years ago, and I'm a lifelong fan since 8 years old, and I had moved to Louisville, Kentucky, and me and my college brother started a podcast called Talking the Business. We ran for 2 years, and I think the first show we put out got 60 listens in 1 week. And
here, bring your mic up closer.
Later, yeah, the first show did about 60 about 60 views or 60 listens the first week, And 1 year later, we're interviewing DJ Hyde and getting 4,000 in 6 different countries.
Nice.
Really blessed. And I was actually set up to do a tryout for IWA Mid South, but I got a phone call from Randy Royal, who is a longtime worker at Ohio Valley Wrestling.
hmm
And he's like, Kevin, you're not making your tryout. I was like, why? He's like, you're on TV Tuesday night. Make sure your ass is there. Oh, okay. Wow. So I show up and have no idea what I'm doing. I'm absolutely clueless. I meet Danny Davis that night. And thankfully, Dean Hill, who was a longtime announcer there at Ohio Valley Wrestling for 20 years, and a gentleman by the name of Rod Head, who, if you're an indie fan, he was the voice of XPW.
That's
Yep.
right.
Man, you want to talk about legendary. They kind of coaxed me through that first night, and I got really lucky. And for the next 2.5 years, I was honored to ring announce and do commentary on TV for Ohio Valley Wrestling. Learned ridiculous amounts. And then an opportunity came along where I got to try out at IWA Mid South, and anybody who knows anything about IWA Mid South knows. I mean, they're coming up on their 25th anniversary show this year,
That's right.
and if you look through the list of guys that have gone through IWA Mid South and have learned there, from Punk and Cabana and Hero, and you can just go on, and your Tyler Blacks, your Cesaros, and you can say whatever
It's
you
funny you
want.
mentioned Tyler Black and Cesaro because they just had their big WrestleMania match, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's the first time they faced each other."
Oh God, no!
No,
God,
they
no.
faced each
They've
other
been
in
facing
IWA
each
Mid South.
Yeah, and that was like, wow, that was like 14 years ago.
I'm like, are you serious? Can people
Yeah.
watch wrestling?
But I got a chance to do a tryout, and I did not know John Williams, Ian Rotten well. And I remember going into the tryout, and if you guys have never seen an IWA show or fans know, the fans there are maybe the most brutal, with the exception of Philadelphia fans, that there are. If you suck,
Pretty accurate.
you won't get to the match. They will put you in your place. I mean,
Oh,
there
yeah.
is nothing else about it. So I get through the night, and after the end of the show, Boss Man's critiquing everyone, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh God, I do not want to hear this. I do not want to get chewed out." And he finally comes to me and goes, "Kevin, you got a voice," and that was it. And I was like, "Oh, thank heaven, Jesus, get me out of here!"
Here you are shaking in the
And
corner, like, "Don't fire me."
oh, seriously. And I found my family that night. I found my home. And due to John, who I learned a tremendous, God, I cannot tell you how much that man has taught me. To go on to be a booker, to work with some of the guys that he brought in, a Manny Fernandez, a Dutch Mantel, a Jimmy Jacobs, and to be able to really just learn from the people that I wanted to learn from. It was a beautiful thing.
It's a
And
great experience, isn't it?
yeah, it really is. And I just kept getting better and better at what I did. And you've been in this industry, you said what, 20 some odd years, correct?
28 going on 29, June 16th, ladies and gentlemen.
You know as well as I do, you're still learning something every day.
Every day, man. That's why I love Bob so
Every
much.
day.
Every time I talk to Bob, I learn
Exactly.
something every day.
Yeah, you learn something every day. And those were the experiences I got. One day Nate Webb would come in just to watch a show. What? Okay, sure. Oh yeah, next week we're bringing in Vampiro. Okay, sure. Why not? Oh yeah, Davey Boy Smith Jr. is coming in. Kevin, why don't you go talk to him for a little while? Oh no, I don't want to talk to him. Well, Michael Elgin's doing a seminar 2 weeks after that. Okay, no problem. And you learn. You just sit back and you learn. Again, guys like Rip Rogers, Dr. Tom Pritchard, who I got to know Dr. Tom personally, and I booked a company called Bandit Wrestling out of Knoxville, Tennessee, that was owned by Devin Driscoll. He owns the D1 training facility there in Knoxville, and that is
Shout
where
out to
Glenn
Devin
Jacobs.
Driscoll. Yep.
Yep, and that's where Glenn Jacobs and Tom Pritchard have their school.
Glenn
And
Jacobs, ladies and gentlemen, known as Kane, the Hall of
Kane.
Famer.
and the,
The
mayor of Knoxville.
The mayor of Knox County.
So, and you want to talk about learning? I could just sit there for 4 hours and listen to Dr. Tom talk and take notes.
The
Oh,
Heavenly Bodies. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Tom Pritchard.
wow. And you sit back and, him being from Texas, I'm from South Carolina, but I grew up in Texas. So we would talk for an hour about Gino Hernandez.
Ooh. Man.
And, if you know that name, you know that pretty much
Ooh.
every good heel of the industry today
Right?
is just a version of Gino Hernandez.
Look,
That's all they are.
Chris, look, the best matches I remember growing up watching and made me want to become a wrestler were Gino Hernandez, Manny Fernandez, Rick Rude, and Chris Adams. Okay, we're talking about the Freebirds running roughshod all through World Class Championship Wrestling.
Baby.
We're talking about the Iceman King Parsons. You talk about Brickhouse Brown.
Gary Hart. Hold on. You got to look at Gary Hart as a booker, as a manager. God. Gary Hart is the man.
Gary Hart, man. Look, Skandor Akbar. Like, what? Sir Oliver Humperdinck? Come on, man.
And then going up in El Paso. Yeah. And then Hector Guerrero ran a promotion in El Paso. So I remember growing up meeting an 8-year-old Eddie Guerrero and seeing Art Barr for the first time and being blown away. And, listen, I love Eddie and he's one of my favorite of all times. But if you had the privilege of seeing Art Barr, Art was better than Eddie and everyone knew it. There was no doubt about it.
Yeah, I'd agree with
I'll
that.
tell you this. I made my debut in Mexico for AAA. And, because I was trained by Rey Mysterio, Mondo Guerrero, Bill Anderson, those guys. And Bill Anderson was down there with Louis Piccoli and Tim Patterson as the mercenaries. So I got to wrestle.
Louis Piccoli.
Yeah, exactly. I got to wrestle with some like legit guys back in the day when I started. And seeing a Art Barr as Love Machine and Eddie Guerrero as they were Los Gringos Locos back in AAA. And they wore those red, white, blue tights. Like Tex Thompson wears the same type of tights, but they were wearing the same type of tights. And I remember like saying like, damn, those guys are fucking bad, man. Like they drew so much heat. Like getting rocks thrown at them.
Oh, yeah, they were. Oh, what's your favorite tag team of all time? El Gringo Loco. Who the hell's that? Oh, you just have no idea.
Google
I'm
it.
sorry, you have no idea.
GTS, baby.
Oh my gosh, just wonderful stuff. But I got blessed from the podcast to who I got to learn from, the people I met. At the time when I was booking the company in Knoxville, there was a ton of talent coming out of the CZW dojo. There was 21-year-old kids like Ace Austin, Ace Romero, Private Party, all coming out of the dojo and all killing it. And me doing whatever I could to get my hands on it. Getting to meet an Ace Austin and just an outstanding young man. Meeting some of the guys from Ohio. You would know them, I guess, now as MSK or the Rascals. But Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz, two of the best young men you could ever want to work with. So easy to work with. Trey McQuell, same way. I'm telling you what, 15 years from now, Trey might be one of the best backstage producers. That guy's mind and how he puts together a match at his age.
Well, I'll tell you this. There's one guy that I want to give a shout out to, and I'm pretty sure you know who he is. Former CZW World Champion, my boy, the Church's Money, Black G's. Shout out to my boy, Black G's.
Most definitely. But no, they just had a ridiculous amount of talent coming through the Ohio area and through CZW. And, man, I just had to get my hands on it. Come down to Knoxville. Let's do something. To meeting a gentleman that, a lot of people will know here real soon, just signed to NXT. Blake Christian. 2.5 years ago. Yeah, 2.5 years ago, I get a video from a friend who goes, you got to check this 21-year-old kid out. I watched the match. 5 minutes later, I was on the phone. I was like, by 26, you'll be on national TV. He beat me about 3 years because he's 23 and just signed. You know, I got lucky. I got really lucky, and just to be a really blessed guy, to be part of something, and to have a lot of great experiences, whether it be in Ohio Valley Wrestling. I've done an NWA Heavyweight Championship match due to Innovate Wrestling in Tennessee, or NWA Smoky Mountains, what most people know.
Oh yeah, you're out there, my boy.
Tony Gibbons.
Yeah, Tony Gibbons, ladies and gentlemen, formerly of NWA Smoky Mountain.
Yes, yes.
Tony Gibbons is a friend of the channel and might be on the podcast coming up pretty soon.
Oh God, you're gonna have no F's given Tony Gibbons on the show.
I love Tony Gibbons, man. Tony Gibbons is a good fucking guy. He's a good dude, man.
Outstanding.
I want to give a quick shout out real quick though to my boy Dan Murphy, formerly of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Dan Murphy, Mr. PWI 500. Dan was diagnosed with COVID 11 days ago and is on the mend getting better. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you know Dan Murphy on Facebook, please give him a quick shout out. The man's a pretty good dude, and he's writing like a whole crap of books right now, and he's selling them out. So, shout out to my boy Dan Murphy. Shout out to my girl Brandy Makowitz. I'm just giving all the shout outs tonight.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm sitting here looking. We're just I think a couple of weeks away now, April 23rd, 24th, to the Ted Petty Invitational. Let's be honest, that's probably the most prestigious tournament in independent wrestling, not called both.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm looking at this year's lineup, right? And I'm going, all right, Aaron Williams might be the best unsigned talent in the Midwest. All right. MLW star Mance Warner. Okay. Former Impact stars Jake Christ and Congo Kong. Okay. One of the best deathmatch artists in the world, John Wayne Murdoch. Okay. 18-year-old Alice Crowley. And if you guys don't know who she is,
Google it.
She has the chance to be the next Becky Lynch. An 18-year-old, they could go 30 minutes with Michael Logan, and I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. An 18-year-old girl that could go 30 minutes with Michael Logan. No big deal.
Man.
What a lot of people don't know is Evolve tried to sign her. They couldn't. They didn't realize she was 17. Trust me, when she turns 21, the world's her oyster, and you're talking about someone who is straight edge, loves children, 3.6 GPA. The world's her oyster. Yeah, folks. If you a big shout out to Alice. I love y'all to death, girl. Trust me, you will know that name within the next 4 years. There is no doubt.
I believe it. 100%. I believe it. Yeah. And with the Ted Petty Invitational, obviously one of the longest running traditions, not just tournaments, but traditions in professional wrestling. Yeah. And with the names that have been in that tournament, and you've had the honor, the privilege of announcing so many of these names. I mean, that's going to be one of the most amazing feelings, in the world,
It is. God, I don't even know how to say it, but when you look up to somebody, and as a ring announcer, our job is to frame the picture. You guys are going in there and telling the stories. My job, I'm to frame the picture. And this is the good guy, and this is the and to go in there to people that you respect, that you have met, and you get to know they're amazing people. And I'll give a great example: Sammy Callahan. I remember the first time I got to him announce for Sammy. And Sammy's a great human being. Okay, is he? Yeah, he's rough. Don't get me wrong, but he's a good-hearted human being. And I remember I was announcing for him, and I did the whole thumbs up, and he grabs the mic from me, and he looks at me, and he goes, thumbs down. I was honored. The man grabbed the mic into me and got into the action with me. And it was a blast. And afterwards he goes, hey, Jimmy told me about you. Hey, that's pretty damn good. Okay, I got a compliment from Sam Callahan. I don't need anything else. I'm done. It is. It is. It's really, if you're a fan of the industry, those type of moments, you never forget.
Absolutely. That's beautiful.
It really is.
So with that being said, look, I'm going to ask you, we're going to play a game with you real quick, okay, before we let you go. This game is real simple. I've been wanting to play it with you since I talked to you yesterday about coming on the show.
Okay.
Game's real simple, ladies and gentlemen. If you know it, if you watch the show, you know the game. And the game is real simple, and here it is. It's called Team With, Feud With, or Fire. Now, rules are simple. You can team with anyone in the industry, no matter who it is, alive or dead. You can also feud with anyone, alive or dead. And you can fire any son of a bitch you want to. No questions asked. I mean, unless you want to give us an explanation, which we kind of prefer. So,
Okay.
Team With, Feud With, Fire.
Oh gosh. Team with Stan Hansen, because I know I can hide behind him and he will whoop everybody's ass. I don't have anything to worry about.
Those nearsighted lariats, baby.
Right.
There we go. Feud with, just because I got to know him as he was coming out of the CZW dojo, MJF. That would be so much fun because I know I can rub my mouth and God, he can run his. That would be a blast. Or Fire. Wow. Okay. I got to do this. One of the best commentators in independent pro wrestling, Nick Manawa. I would fire your ass so you would have to go away from IWA and get up to another level because I know you're that damn good, my friend. So I'm firing you out of IWA so you can get on TV somewhere.
Wow.
That's actually that's a damn legit reason.
To me,
I
that
love
sounds
it.
like you're trying to give him a fucking promotion. You're not trying to fire him.
Exactly. I'm firing you, but only because I want you to succeed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like,
That's
bro,
my
you're better
point.
than this. You're fired.
Yes. Hey, listen, IWA is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but seriously, he is one of the best commentators in the independent. He's got that Excalibur that he can call every move, but at the same time, he's got the I want to put my finger on the right person from Ring of Honor that I don't know why his name won't come up to me right now.
Ian
Rockbody. Because
Rabbani?
because when he gets excited, you feel it. His energy level goes up. You hear it in his voice.
Like
You get
Mauro
behind it very much. So you take that, and with a little bit of Excalibur, and that he can call pretty much every move. And thank God he won't call it a Death Valley driver. He calls it a Spicoli driver, like it should be called. Yeah, I'd love to see him get more opportunities. I really would, because he's just that good at what he does.
I love
Well,
it.
man, hey, that's shit. That's some praise right there coming from the man himself. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you very much for joining us here, Kevin, on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. Or any shout outs you want to give, any for ProWrestlingTees.com, any, Twitter pages, Twitch.
Listen, anybody who knows me knows that the past couple of years has been rough. I'm battling some pretty bad medical issues, and I've been blessed that I've had good brothers and sisters that have watched my back and have helped me stay on my feet. So I guess if I was going to shout out to the guys who got me in the business, Danny Davis, Dean Hill, Boss Man, Ian, I can't thank you enough, Devin. They gave me opportunities to do something that I love. And for that, I can never thank them enough.
Man, very humble words from a very humble man. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kevin Cordell. Brother, thank you very much for joining us here on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast.
All right, you guys have a great night.
Thank
And
you.
ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with more of the podcast after this.
Drive me insane! All these rules are lame, have been taking all the fun out! Drive me insane! All these rules are lame, have been taking all the fun out! Drive me insane! All these
When you want to get your hair cut, you go get your hair cut right. You head down to Big D's Barbershop. Big D's Barbershop, Vancouver, Washington's best and brightest. 1019 Main Street, Vancouver, Washington, where you can go get your hair lined up, cuts, fades, shampoos, conditions, and all the great things that go with supporting a local barbershop in a local business area. You can also reach them online at www.bigdsbarbershop.com. Go get your haircut right. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man. What a night.
It has been one hell of a night, absolutely. And, man, show just kind of zipped by here tonight, you know?
It did. Oh, shout out. One more shout out. Shout out to my boy Matt Liskey, the voice of the ring, voice of BCW Worldwide, getting better on his leg surgery. Shout out to Bobby Horn, otherwise known to the world as Sir Mo, the one of the founding members of the OIWA wrestling organization, which I'm proud to be a part of, an organization that actually matters. So shout out to him. Shout out to Dante Smiley, the OIWA International Heavyweight Champion, the champ. So yeah, man. Shit. I mean, it's been a roller coaster, man. Like next week, we got a really good show. We got John Cena Sr. That's right, the father of the WWE legend John Cena will be live here on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. We got the current AEW Dark Star, the pretty little psycho Shauna Reed back in the house.
Nice.
Oh man, you got your boy
funny,
Tony.
Right before we actually went to got Kevin on, I actually went and I signed up over at the WrestleLife, so I am now a member of the site.
TheWrestleLife.com, man. I mean, you got to join that website. If you were a professional wrestler, you learned about the business, ring announcer, commentator, promoter, booker, backstage guy, agent, whatever. If you want to learn about being like a true professional wrestler and making money at this business, it's not as hard as you think it is. Go join TheWrestleLife.com. Guarantee you're going to like everything about it.
And a lot of people, they tend to overcomplicate things. You can keep things so much more simple and so much more affordable, profitable, whatever you want to call it. But there's no reason to try to make things, so much more complex than they have to be. So professional wrestling, it's always been boiled down to good guy, bad guy, fight, make crowd happy, make crowd mad, send crowd home happy, so on and so forth. It's really not it. As long as you keep it to just those basic principles, you're gonna be successful every single time. How you get to those, those landmarks, those points, that's up to you. But as long as you understand those core principles, that's what makes pro wrestling work.
That's true, man. And people don't take this business seriously until it's too late. Hey, and just like Nate Andrews said right here, man, less is more. Less is more.
Yes.
I tell people I tell people all the time, dude, you can go out there and do 50 moves. But you know what's going to matter? You know what's going to matter? The last move. No one's going to give a shit about your 5 hurricanranas from the top rope. It's all about that 1, 2, 3. That's all people care about.
So, little comment I wanted to bring up here. Just I had to highlight this because this was brought up when Bob was bringing up the old handshake and a hot dog. Yes, I have had myself a Costco dog. Thank you very much.
Hey, Costco dogs are the bomb, dude. I don't even like hot dogs, but I eat those all the time. My grandmother used to work in a hot dog factory. I know what's in a hot dog, and I stopped eating that shit. So earlier we started the conversation. We started the podcast, and we were talking about the comment made by Billy Silverman.
Yes.
As you can tell, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we had opinions.
Yeah, we did.
Lots of opinions. And just saying.
That still blows my mind.
I try to put, as you can see, I put people over all the time. And what I mean by put people over is like, I think everyone that I've ever been involved with in the industry, my tag team partner, just exciting. I thank him all the time, even though he doesn't think that I put him over as much as he should be. But I do. You know, Tony, if it wasn't for Tony, I don't know if I would have survived this last year. You know, my mom passed from COVID, and I've been very up and down a lot. And you keep me grounded. The fans that listen to this podcast, that watch us every week, they keep me grounded. But pompous assholes like you, Billy Silverman, you are what's bad with pro wrestling. I mean, everyone has an opinion. I don't have to like the WWE. I don't have to like AEW. I don't have to like New Japan. Hell, I don't have to like you at all.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Exactly.
Just like Tony has his opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. People know I'm not a WWE guy whatsoever. I still took a glance at Mania, and there was some stuff that I enjoyed. Obviously, we talked about that Seth Rollins and Cesaro match. Fantastic stuff. Then there was some stuff that just boggled my mind with just why Orton is deemed. But those are my opinions. You don't have to necessarily agree with them, and I'm not telling you that you have to either. But there are their opinions, and just Shane actually made a comment here a little earlier, and I wanted to bring this up here just as I find it. I enjoyed both nights of Mania, probably because I'm easily to be entertained. So here's the thing: it's not necessarily a bad thing to be easily entertained. I enjoy really, really bad movies. Okay, I enjoy some low budget schlock that would blow some people's minds.
We've watched some low budget shit at the movies.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. And you know what? I enjoy that stuff. And there's some stuff like Titanic that I absolutely despise. Doesn't mean that my opinion is right or wrong necessarily either way. It's just my opinion. It's just your opinion. It's just their opinion. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong.
Toby said it right here. As a professional wrestler, this is what I do. I would do whatever I have to do to entertain the crowd. I'm in it this time around to have fun, work the crowd, and be safe. True statement, man. True statement. People don't, I can just say this. I mean, I can go on and on about this situation, but I know a lot of you guys probably, like the ones that are on my Facebook, you probably seen the post that I posted earlier about the guy who, Adam Woods and I talked about it, about the guy who went to WrestleMania fully knowing that he had COVID. Like the dude was like, I tested positive for COVID, and guess what? I'm at WWE. I don't give a shit. Like, I paid my money. Like, are you serious? Like, but if I make that opinion, which myself and our good buddy Adam Woods, we made our opinion known, and we talked about that, and then you get attacked because you make an opinion known. Like, I get it, ladies and gentlemen. I totally understand. Everyone has their opinions, and opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one.
Exactly.
So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast, and thank you for allowing us the honor and privilege of coming into your homes week after week with our opinions. Tony, tell these amazing people where they can watch us on TV every week.
I'm going to try to do this as quickly as I can. Okay, on Xfinity and CenturyLink TV, Portland, Oregon area, Monday every night, 10 p.m. That's on Channel 11 on Xfinity and on CenturyLink. Every Tuesday at 10 p.m., Channel 22, Xfinity, and on Channel 8002 on CenturyLink. And if you miss those two, you got one more chance. Every Wednesday night, 9 p.m., Channel 23, Xfinity, and Channel 8003 on CenturyLink. And we got 10 seconds to spare.
We will see you next week, ladies and gentlemen, on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. John Cena Sr. will be online. We'll have Ashley Nova from fucking Twitter, man. Like she's blowing the spot up, man. And we'll also don't look at me like that, Tony. God damn it. Tony always pops me, I swear to God. Who else we're gonna have on the show, Tony? Oh, we'll have AEW's Dark Superstar, Pretty Little Psycho, Shauna Reed on the show. And ladies and gentlemen, you can see us next week. Thank you for joining us once again on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. That's your boy Double B Bad Blood, the franchise player for Tony the Burns. Peace.